Okay, well, welcome everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here. This is a session on the K-12 strong workforce, and if LEAs, districts are interested in participating, collaborating with the County Office of Ed in a consortium application. So I'm Margie DeRouter. I'm with the San Diego County Office of Education, and I'm a coordinator on our College and Career Readiness Department. And will be the point person for any districts that might be joining up in this collaboration as part of this consortium. So let's get started here. All right, so I know many of you were at yesterday's session, so this might be a repeat where we had our CT Leaders Network kickoff, and we spent a significant amount of time talking about the strong workforce grant application process that's open now. And many of you hung in there to the bitter end, and we saw the webinar from the Chancellor's office. And so I'll just go through these very quickly, but here again are the goals of the Strong Workforce Program is to take applications from eligible LEAs, districts, and really it's around improving, creating, expanding CT courses, programs of study, and pathways for students so that they can transition from secondary to post-secondary and ultimately into a living wage job. I mean, these are about preparing our future workforce. So we'll just do a very, very brief overview of the Career Pathways program. Maria, I'm not sure, were you at our CT Leaders Network meeting yesterday? Okay, so then I won't go too fast on these, but I'm happy to do a follow-up with you after if you have any questions at all. But many of us attended an all-day session where we went through a lot of this information. And let me ask real quickly, what district are you with?
I'm with the Hacienda La Puente Unified District, so
Okay,
I'm
up
not
in
in your
LA
neighborhood,
County?
but
That's
yes.
okay.
But I just
All
kind
right.
of wanted to, so please don't just go at your pace. I'm just trying to learn. It's my second year
Absolutely.
out of the
Well,
classroom.
all right. Well, great. Well, thank you for joining us, and I would be delighted to chat with you more after if you have more questions. So again, we'll brief overview of career pathways and how this funding can help support in developing your programs in the middle school, but we're also looking at, if you're a small K-12 district, and also I had a couple of charter schools that were interested too. So I don't know if we're going to do a mashup of K-8 small and charter districts. So we'll just see how much interest that we can garner here. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining. So, all righty. So again, many of you saw much of this information yesterday, who's eligible to apply for this funding, and that you can partner with other LEAs as a consortium. So we're offering that up for other districts to be a lead for you. And really, as we started at the top of this, Kristen asked a really good question. So what would be what's the positive, what would be the benefit of me joining a consortium? And really, we started these with our round 2. And so this is 5 years ago as we're in round 7. And this is really to help support our middle schools, small K-8 and small K-12 districts, for them to get their feet under them as they were looking at jumping into CTE, funding world, and how we as a COE could help support them through that by acting as that intermediary between the regional consortia funder and your district. Walk you through the forms, the reporting, and just working more one-on-one with you, but not so much in collaboration with other districts, but with county office. And as Al, for those of you that were at our leaders kickoff meeting yesterday, as Al really underscored, we want to be of value to you, and the value add is how we can support you and do, especially for our smalls, any heavy lifting with the administrative requirements that some of these grants can really impose. So
And
that's,
Marjorie, I just
yeah,
like to add that the application is daunting, and the support you give us to fill it out and we still get a tremendous amount of grant money. I feel like it's just been, I don't know that we would have done it any other way, been able to do it because of the time that it takes to do it. And you all support us so much. And so we just really appreciate that, especially being a small district when we don't have the same kind of resources that larger districts have.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's Diana Tompkins from Alpine Middle School, and they've been with us since round two. I think there were a couple of years we skipped a couple of rounds, but they've been one of our longtime middle school partners, and they've been expanding and growing from year to year. And I know we've got Mac Charter School. I see that Lakeside just joined, so we've got a couple of other returning. Dave Entmeyer from Mountain Empire. They're a K-12 but small, and he focused. Was it round five or round five? Yeah,
Round two, five, and
yeah,
hope to get seven.
yeah. That you focused on middle schools.
Right.
So so yeah. So again, we'll see what what the appetite is. Again, whether we have 2, 4, 7. This last year we had for round 6 we had 6 LEA's districts. And it would be nice if we could get over the threshold to bump us into the next level of funding eligibility, and we'll go through that in just a second. So yeah, so that's what we bring to support our smalls, our middle school districts in the K-12 strong workforce in this space. Okay, let's see. Again, you probably saw the slide in some form, again, to build career path skills knowledge for the middle school to help transition from middle school to high school and eventually to post-secondary. These are some of the core principles of the Chancellor's Office in funding programs. Completion of industry valued certificates, degrees, transfers, that's more at our high school level. Preparing students for livable wage, and also identifying close equity gaps for disproportionately impacted students. So that's always for the last several years of this funding is identifying underrepresented students. So that's a piece of it that in this grant of is there a lack of females in some of the in robotics engineering? Are there a lack of underrepresented students with English language, ELL students, or special ed students that may not have significant numbers in some of our programs that we want to look at? What are strategies and what are ways that we can increase those numbers of underrepresented students in some of these programs? So again, that's addressing the equity gaps and disproportionality impacts. Okay, funding levels. So we have 13 million, almost 14 million for the region. And we have always been at about this between the 551 and as a consortium application. We've always fallen in about this level. We came very close in round 6 in bumping us over into this 10,000 ADA level where we would have been eligible to apply for 2 million. So that's why I'm looking for, I keep reaching out to Escondido up in North County because we have a great representation of East County districts in our consortiums in our past applications. So if we could get over into this this tier, we could apply for up to $2 million, and that would be more, of course, more match we'd have to come up with, but again, more resources that we would be able to distribute. In last year's application, we did qualify for up to $1 million. But of course, when you have more asks than funding available, they generally will cut you down. So last year we were awarded 700,000, and we had to reduce everyone's budget by 30%. We walked away with a grand total of SDCOE $7,000 because we really wanted to push most of the money out into the district. So the downside is the more money you get, the more match you have to come up with as we're developing the application. And if there's any questions, please, raise your hand or just go off mic and jump in. Eligibility requirements, and these are all, this is all information in the RFA. So if you have not read through the RFA, please do so. So you'll see that we must partner with at least one community college, and there we will be required to get a letter that very specifically describes how we're going to work with the college, in past performance with the college, what have we done, how have we increased our work with community colleges. And I know many of our middle schools and our charters, and I know Mountain Empire, Dave, you had said, do field trips, have had guest speakers, have great relationships already with the community college system. So we just want to get a letter that states, we support this work and we want to continue working with our LEAs. So that's something that we would also take the lead on behalf of the consortia, is getting those letters of support. Because really our goal is to make it as less of as Diana said, it can be a little daunting, and our role is to try and make it as less of a heavy lift for you, especially if you're new to this. So again, as we talked about, regional efforts around workforce employment ed services, reporting data. So this is something that we have to do an annual report, and I can work with you one-on-one to go into more detail, because we have to report fiscal every 6 months. We'll collect fiscal expenditure information, and then there's an annual report. And it's not that cumbersome, but it's administrative requirement that we have to do. As a lead, we have to, again, agree to these. There's a statements of assurances, and we will have some statements that we get from you. It's a form letter that you fill out, we countersign, we collect all that. As I mentioned, ensuring that we get all the progress from fiscal reports that are submitted on your behalf, and as well as a lead. And then ensure that I'm communicating everything to you all in a timely manner around the grant and any requirements. And just making sure that we're staying in compliance, because we want to make sure that we remain in good standing to continue to receive funding in future years. So here is some key dates. It was released on the 19th. It's due on October 11th. These are links to the RFA and all the required documents. There's the questions that we could submit by Friday the 13th. If you have any questions that you'd like for us to submit, or you can certainly submit as well. We have until the 13th to do so. And then we did receive the recording and the slide deck from the Chancellor's Office webinar that they just did yesterday. So they're available for you.
Margie,
Yep.
your deadline, excuse me, the deadline for getting all this into Nova and such is October 11th, but what's the deadline for us to get all the material to you?
That is coming up.
I'm sorry. Gotcha.
No worries. So this gives you a more expanded timeline, and this is taken right out of the RFP. And there you go, Dave.
Yeah.
Here is our timeline. And so the application is due the 11th. So between now and next Friday, if you are interested in participating in this consortium, please, please, please let me know. Contact me. And then I can work with you on how we start the process of collecting documents. Then I'll meet with you individually, and we'll collect everything as quickly as we can, no later than September 20th. Some of you that are smaller schools, you may not have as long of a time frame to get things approved with your business services office or with your district folks that sign off on this stuff. We have a little bit of a lengthy process. So that's why I need a little bit more time. So these are the documents that I'll need from you: problem statement, project objectives and work plan, and then your budget and match. And I will work with you on each of these documents to complete them as we go through. And then what's not on there is the community college letter, but we'll get those. And so then we need to, between the 20th and the 27th, we need to roll all of this up into one application, into one work plan, into one project statement and problem and project objective statement. And then we have our internal routing is about 10 days. So I'm cutting them a little short. So we have to have that reviewed, approved by our business services, our procurement folks. So it takes a little bit of takes a little time. So that is our timeline for the consortium folks. So really September 20th. So we're cutting off a few weeks, but I have been chasing folks down like 3 days before it's due. Please, I need your work plan, or just give me some bullets. And that's a good thing too. As you're writing this, you will not need to write, prose in your work plan or in your problem statement or objectives. We will ask for just bullets or just very clear thoughts, ideas of what you want to do in each of these sections, and we will massage it and roll it into one. So any questions on that? Dave, does that answer your question?
You got it.
Okay. All right. Let's proceed. In the RFA updates, no CTE CTIG attachment 1. I know our middle school folks are probably happy about that because that was always kind of a interesting, funny document to complete at the middle school level, but a great exercise in starting thinking about high quality CTE as you're developing programs. And then a few new positive considerations. And thank you, Jewel. I just stole from your slide this information. So looking at Vision 2030, and we'll have links to that as well. And then STEM, health, education, early childhood, and/or climate sustainability. And then AI. Sorry, let me go back. Early college credit, youth apprenticeship, pre-apprenticeship, and there are points assigned to this as positive consideration. So these are new. So if you're thinking about AI, literacy, and you don't have to do all three, you can just do one of these three, and we'll get the priority points. And that's the other thing. As a consortium, if at least one of you is a rural, we'll get the rural tick. If one of you is in a region of high unemployment, we'll get that tick. So as a consortium, it gives us that little bit of an edge as well. Okay, so here are all the forms, and these are the forms, Diana. I know you love these forms. So I've got links to all of these in the slide deck. So the RFA, please just peruse through that at the very least. Just read through it quickly, or I would say read through it in depth, but that's going to really be our job. So I want you to focus on budget and match. So start working with your business services folks, your CBO, chief budget officer, around what funding do I have available? Most of our districts LEAs use their instruction, their instructors, their portion of time dedicated to this. And then for every $1 of grant funding, as I mentioned earlier, if we say, yay, we've got enough, we're going to apply for 2 million, we have to come up with 4 million in match. So it's 2 to 1. So there's also an example here of budget and match template. And again, I'll go through these with you individually. And then here's the budget match template. And then there's problem statement and project objectives. And your problem statement is really around the need. You'll also talk about your demographics in your school or your district. It's giving a little bit of background, and this is where we will do some labor market information around your region. In East County, there's unemployment rate of blah, 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 X percentage of families living in poverty, to give a, here's the environmental scan, and try and really identify. And in our school, we have a low portion of EL students in these particular pathways. So we're going to develop strategies around how to increase that population in our programs. So we'll work with you on developing what your problem statement is, and then your project objectives, how you're going to address those issues identified, those challenges and or barriers, and how your project objectives will address those. And then there's the application work plan, and there are 4 criteria for areas that you can address and write to: curriculum, post-secondary, work-based learning, and what is the 4th one? Here, let's have a look. Curriculum instruction, college and career exploration, post-secondary transition and completion, and work-based learning. And again, we will work with you on each of these. If you're, for example, many of our middle school districts said, I just want to focus on developing my career exploratory wheel. So we focus just on the curriculum instruction. For our multiple year consortium applicants, let's think about, maybe let's expand to, how are we now going to start infusing some work-based learning or more post-secondary exposure? So we need to keep building on what are the funds that you've received in the past, how it's continuing to grow your programs, either with new pathways, new programs, new elements, more sections of the pathway, or you're adding another school site. So these are, again, it's growing the program. Any questions about any of these? And again, just go ahead and go off mic and jump on in. Okie dokie. All right, more on budget match, 2 to 1. And then other resources that you can use for match. If you get K16 collaborative funds, community school grant, if you have any other philanthropic grants, you can use middle school pathways if you are a one of the CDE middle school pathway grantees. And then we'll work with you on where's the best areas to find your match funds. And then I've cited here where in the RFA to see what's allowable or non-allowable. Again, as you're building out your pathways, do you need equipment? Do you need to have more staff time for professional development or extra duty time? I know a couple of our instructors have a designated period now, extra duty time. They are the CT coordinators for their middle schools. So it's using resources. How do I best allocate to to be able to add programs, enhance programs, and then allowable, non-allowable activities, like what you cannot buy things. Some of it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty common sense.
So Margie, on the community schools grant,
Yes.
can you, maybe I'm getting the CTIG mixed up with this one, but doesn't the project that might have been funded by community school, doesn't it have to touch a CT pathway?
Oh yeah, of course. Any portion of any of these other grants that you use have to be related to the project. Okay. Absolutely. Any portion of teacher salary, any portion of counselor time. Yes, it has to support the project. So if you take a portion of your, that you have someone who's funded under or an activity in community schools grant that you want to identify, use leverage for your programming.
I was thinking more
to directly support.
I wasn't thinking of salaries so much as I was thinking of equipment that was provided during the summer for a summer school program, but became permanent equipment in a CT photography class, just to throw out an example.
Yeah, it's kind of borderlines in kind. Okay. And they really want the match to be cash. I mean, it's teacher time, because some folks have said, can I use a portion of my space? Not so, but let's chat a little bit more about equipment, but I think that's getting more of it to in kind.
Okay.
Oh, as we do the budget, there is a 4% max indirect. So between all of our partners, whoever's in the grant, we can't exceed 4% of indirect. And again, we'll work with you as we're collecting budgets and ensuring that we stay within that. Capital outlay, you can use these funds for equipment. We've had folks, buy to set up learning labs, to buy for their sports and nutrition program. They bought some kitchen equipment. So it's a variety, and these are they want to see that you're investing, that you're in infrastructure for these programs. I'm not sure, Al, is there anything you want to add to that? But I think that's, as far as capital outlay, anything over 5,000, as long as it's identified in your budget. Unlike CTIG, you have to get approval. Understanding what we had in the past, and I know one of our partners here, Lakeside, they've purchased a significant amount of equipment for their Project Lead the Way program to expand that. And if it's listed in the grant application and our budget's approved, then we're good. So again, we'll work with you as you're looking at equipment, just to make sure that we're not exceeding any sort of max allowable, but haven't had that issue before, but we'll make sure we're being cautious on that. The problem statement. So this is one of the key things that really, I think that we take the heavy lift on, is making sure that programs are aligned to the regional plan, and there's links to each of these. As you probably heard yesterday, for those that you were there yesterday, we want to make sure that this is informed by our region's labor market information, any pathways as we're developing programs. There's a lot of information with the Centers of Excellence, their labor market information, their briefs. So you can access those just to take a peek at. And if you're thinking about, maybe I want to start a new pathway, making sure that there's good data. And again, we'll write that all up as we do the problem statement, and as we also justify why certain pathways are selected. That it's based on our region's plan and labor market information. And then there's an example of, I think I've talked about the equity gaps and subgroups, how we're working towards access, inclusion, making sure that they're able to participate in some of these high quality programs. We're doing on time here, okay. And then the project objectives, they'll, again, as I said earlier, respond to the problem statement. Again, informed by our reports, by our plans, by our, by data. We'll have some outcomes, and Jewel had a great a strategy that she mentioned yesterday in our session. Look at the rubric to see how the rubric is evaluating each of these sections. And I love the lead statements that, that this objective will address and increase by June of 2025 by 15% students participating in. So, and again, we will work with you on creating those statements to show how we're, putting some metrics to these outcomes. I don't know, Joyce. Oh yeah, you're on the call. If there's anything to add on that, and Jewel and or Al, go ahead and jump on in. The work plan. Oh, sorry. I see you're up.
Oh no, I feel like you covered it, and if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Awesome. Okay, work plan. We took a peek at the work plan. And again, those are the 4 categories. I put an example of Napa County ROP. I thought they did a really nice job on their work plan. And if anyone has a NOVA account, the cool thing about that is that you can go in and you can look at every single person in the state for all of the past years. You can go in and look at their plans to get some great ideas around what folks are doing. And so this one is an example of a middle school, but there's just all kinds, pre-apprenticeship and all different sectors. So again, as I said, we will synthesize everything into one overall work plan, and we will enter it into Nova. And these categories, slide 9, okay. So that might be left over from a prior, but let's continue on. Let's see. Defining pathways. Okay, so this is where I really, Al and or Jewel, but if you are developing pathways, these are the requirements that at least 2 courses, and then we've got the link to the CTE course codes, has to be taught by a credentialed teacher, 300 hours, although
So some of these
that is also changed. Yeah.
are they're in the process of being updated by the state, but it should still be a 2-year
course.
4-semester sequence. So it's not, although the work like 300 hours is also hard because like our 4x4 schedules don't necessarily have 300 hours, but we're still looking at a 4-semester or 2 full years of concentrator and then capstone. And then for that completer, you do need CTE credentialed teachers for the most part, but we do have some flexibility with both of these funds around whether or not the teachers are CTE credentialed, particularly at the middle school level.
Right. Yeah. So that is the nice thing at the middle school level, a little more flexibility. I know, Diana, you're a CTE credentialed teacher, and I know Lakeside as well, and I think, and of course, Mountain Empire. So yeah, a little more flexibility, if not, if you're doing exploratory. So that's a good thing. And here's our 15 industry sectors. This is one of my favorite posters. I love this poster. So those are 15 industry sectors and the pathways within each of the sectors. Like there's a total of 58 pathways. This is for our middle schools. So exploratory wheel, 3 or more sectors. And actually, Al, this is where I like you to take over because you really speak to this, and or Jewel, you're the curriculum folks. But if you want to add anything to this, but this is what really for our middle schools gives you a little bit more in the exploratory phase. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Joel, jump in.
Al's
like?
on mute,
Nope.
but yeah, so here
Either one of you.
we're just encouraging at the middle school level is to really think about how you are providing opportunities for students kind of either get like a taste of each pathway so they know what options they have at high school. So really being thoughtful about what programs they have at the high school level and making sure those are part of whatever wheel you might have so that once they go and they have to register that they have a feeling and awareness. These are also really important equity opportunities for students. Many of our students may not have seen someone who looks like them in these roles, so giving them experiences in middle school where there's a little bit lower risk, where we can have a lot more kind of high engagement experiences for students, helps our students to start seeing themselves as an engineer, as a culinary specialist, as a automotive technician, as a healthcare person, right? So when you give them these wheel opportunities, they see themselves in these roles and they start building their capacity to pursue those if that's where their high interest is. So we love to see wheels at the middle school level, especially when it aligns to high school, but you can also do kind of an introductory class that specializes in one of the 15 sectors if that is a better fit for your system or something you're already doing, and we might be able to leverage these funds to supplement, not supplant and pay for what you already paid for, but to supplement identifying what kinds of materials and equipment, maybe some post-secondary engagement. You want to get some buses to go to the college. You might want to get some buses to go out into industry and really bring a future-ready lens to maybe a program in these spaces that you already run.
Thank you, Joel.
Do you
Al,
have a poster, a big poster like that we can put in our classrooms of that?
we do. Yes, we can. Actually, we don't have like large posters, but we can do like 11 by 17.
Mhm.
paper size. But if
Uh-huh.
you go to CDE website, you can print them, find the link. I'll drop the link in the
Okay,
slide deck.
thank you.
But yeah, those are good.
Yeah, it's a great
I'm
poster.
sorry, Al, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that um, at the middle school, it's nice to have, first of all, some visuals. And the poster's a great visual.
Hmm.
There's some other visuals, our workforce development, priority sector posters. Those are great visuals to have in the classroom that just kind of sometimes point to questions about, is this really worth even
Sorry.
right? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm on my phone and on my laptop at the same time. So whatever visuals, but as it comes down to today's meeting on the grant, just looking to make sure you have the additional funding to either start or enhance what you've been doing on your campus. And then we can have bigger conversations based on your individual placement on that continuum about what your next can look like. But making sure that you're participating right now, knowing that you're on Margie's roster now as consortium members, we know that each one of you are possibly at different places on this journey. And so we want to further have a detailed conversation about, what we can do to support you in doing what's next. And then there's folks that aren't on this call that myself and Michael and Jewel and Margie will try and bring them underneath this tent so that especially with middle school and our charter school focus to get engaged and to provide these opportunities that you apparently know so well to some of the school districts that are still out there in the ocean. They're pretty far from the dock. We're going to try and bring them in and have them get engaged with us, learn more about how they can enrich the experiences for students and understanding the college and career readiness, career technical education space, how that relates to their college and career readiness plans, getting their staff aware of it, getting the district. If you're not here and your district is, there's districts that are still not getting any career technical education funding. And it's just because they don't meet these timelines. So I'm glad that you're here. We want to help you wherever you are. And that's kind of our focus. So you are the folks that kind of know. And so we're going to help you for where you are at, whatever that support looks like. If you have some colleagues in other districts, and I know that, for instance, Diana, right down the street from you, Oak Grove in Hamul, Missouri. I don't know how many times I've tried to get them engaged, but they just don't know. So we're going to make another reach out. I talked to Still Canyon today to see if they talked to them. They said no. So they're still out there by themselves, right? And so sometimes if you happen to just be the right person, the right teacher that knows the teacher over there, that's enough. That's a tipping point to kind of get them engaged.
Right.
So I pitched that out here just to let you know that as you can think of some of your friends or colleagues that work in other districts and you happen to mention, yeah, we were at our CTIG consortium grant application workshop, and they just go, huh? And you know that they're kind of in the same scenario that you're in, then we want to have an opportunity to share this information with them as well. So great job today. Great job, Margie. Great job, Jules. Great job. I thought I saw Brian in here. All the county office folks. Just want to continue to bring folks in before this deadline passes. Back to you, Margie.
Okay. Yeah, moving on. Thank you. Thank you, Joel, and thank you all. Okay, so I think we talked enough about this as far as what to consider, what you should focus on. Again, based on our region's priority industry sectors, you're looking from middle school to high school. What are the pathways offered at the feeder high school? I know sometimes it doesn't always align, but that's maybe where the opportunity is for new pathways. If your existing pathways aren't currently aligned to your feeder high school. Okay. And then this is we have high school and for middle school. So if you click on these links, you'll find for middle school and then also for high school for our secondary folks, and it really is a nice way to assess where am I at in my programming. This is Jewel does a really nice workshop where she uses these to help folks take a green highlighter and highlight what you're already doing, take an orange highlighter and highlight what you're not doing, and that'll help you figure out where are some gaps that I can in each of these areas of maybe some awareness. Maybe I need to get more parents involved in exploration. Maybe this is an opportunity where I can purchase some software. We did purchase Zello for our consortium, our round 5 folks, and round 2 folks. We had Journey, I think, one year. And those are career exploration software platforms for teachers, counselors, students. So this kind of is like a little mini assessment to help you in figuring out, where are there gaps that I should think about, start developing some strategies around program development. And again, we will work with you on this if we can go through this this exercise and just help ideate around. I think I've got some ideas around. I know, Dave, you were also saying I've been thinking about this. I got some ideas. I'm doing some planning at the middle school level, but you also mentioned the high school level. So this is a good continuum to use. And we worked on this, gosh, how many years ago? 5 years ago, and it still is very relevant. And yeah, I think just it's really good document. And then the program finder, if you don't know what programs are at which high schools, this is a, I don't want to click on it because then it's going to take me someplace else. But this is again, a platform database that the community college, the regional consortia created to help you figure out where our pathways for my K-12, for my high schools, from my middle school to high school, then high school to community college. Oopsie, okay. Jill did a very nice one-page version of that because it's like 4 pages. It's like middle school in school, middle school out of school, middle school. Anyway, so she did a nice summary of it. So you have that available to you. This is the green-orange exercise that I think is a really good exercise to go through. What job skills are in demand? So how to use labor market information and the sources. So these are all updated with, again, reports by the Centers of Excellence, labor market briefs, the new career education guide for, I think it's 23, 24 still. I think that's still current. So this just gives you an idea, again, another page to go to, but we will take on, we as the consortia lead will take on the that task of really how to write up the labor market information in support of your pathways. This was a good tips for project success. That was from last year that Leslie, I believe, created. Looking at demographics, again, labor market, and I probably just would sound like a broken record on that. But just, what's my ecosystem? Who is in my community? What relationships do I have with industry right now? Or what industry is lacking in my community, where can I get my students to? And then a good, project objective describes how you're going to address that problem, and what you'll do with the funds to resolve the problem that you've identified in your problem statement. And then your budget supports that. Here are how you're going to use the resources to either purchase equipment, purchase expertise, do professional development for your teachers, staff, counselors. Your budget should directly ties into these. Questions. And Beverly, sorry it took a little while to get you the slide deck. So you have that now. And Andrew, thank you. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
I was just saying, I'm just curious, was that community college partner letter new to round 7? I wasn't in round 6.
The letter is not new. there's a requirement that we have to show that we have a partnership with one of the colleges. The guidance that they've provided is new, that they've listed on the website. And it's to help craft a little bit more robust and genuine letters of support. So they want to really see how you're working with your college specific to this project. Because we've written some pretty general letters and we've used them for all of County Office of Ed. So we usually submit 3 applications, one a consortium application, our juvenile court and community schools that Jewel is taking the lead with our JCCS folks. And then the third has been a kind of a regional application to support, which we're kind of like 0 for 4 on that one. And what I've done is I've gotten one letter from almost every college and used all those letters for all the applications. They've been very generic in nature, but we have highlighted that we'll work with middle schools. We're going to work with our juvenile court community schools. We're going to work with, to increase pathways, enhance pathways, more professional development. So I'm hoping that that approach will still work, that I don't have to tailor letters for each district. So I need to get a little bit of guidance on that. And Jewel, if you have anything to add to that, that would be great. But
I haven't
so the
I
letters are a
haven't
little new.
dug into the current ask for letters. We did have a couple of years where they were not required, so you didn't misremember that, Dave. They
I
brought
I
it
didn't
back.
think
It
so.
was in the first couple of years, and then they took a break, and then the concern that community colleges have is that people were just writing all kinds of things in. Oh, we'll do this with the college and that with the college, and they weren't necessarily involved in that planning.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that that letter of support has returned in round 6, and then has become more specific here in round 7.
Well, I was going to contact George out there at Cuyamaca. I've worked with him before, and I worked with him on a dual enrollment project at the high school. The middle school thing's a little new to him, but I just wanted to have a counter to when he says, "Well, how come you didn't contact me last time?" Well, I didn't have to, but yeah, I think it'll be okay. It's a good template.
Great. Yeah.
And if
So
you're part of the consortium, then Margie will be working on that.
So I don't have to contact George?
I don't think so. If we can
Really?
just do one letter,
Okay.
or what I've done in the past is I've loaded up with all the colleges, I've collected from all of them and put them in our consortium application. But I've done that. I've gone around to each one, so you don't need to do that, because it'll be for the consortium. Will be on behalf of all of our LEAs and districts in the consortium.
Okay, I must have misunderstood. I thought all the partner LEAs had to do their own partner letter with the community college.
Yeah, I know you asked that, and I thought, I got to thinking. I looked in the RFA, and I didn't see that specific language.
I could have misread it,
But it's worth a question. I can ask Leslie.
Okay.
And Andrew, you're one charter school, and I was thinking about doing another consortia application just for charter schools, and so that here are all our charters, and you guys have different, more flexibility within your LEAs. But so far, I think we've only had maybe 2 or 3 charters who've expressed any sort of interest, and they might just apply on their own. So I'll let you know if we decide to do that, and we'll throw you in that one. Otherwise, we'll keep you in this one.
Okay, thanks so much.
And Beverly, great, glad to hear that Lakeside is still interested. And I know Diana, you're also going to be a part of it, and expand. Any other folks in I know La Mesa Spring Valley. We have one new school, possibly only one. I'm not sure LMAC, whether they're going to go for CTIG or stick with K12 Strong Workforce. So, but nonetheless, that's what we're here. And as Al said, we're here to support you and provide value to your work, however we can. And for this purpose, it's really about us taking on some of the, just the administrative work that goes into putting together an application. It is a lot. So that's what we're here for. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Hey, Margie.
Ah, you're welcome.
Well,
Yes.
even with Andrew, I don't know, which charter are you with?
Mac Community Charter School.
Oh, okay. So Mac's been involved before, but
Yeah.
as you talk to charters, sometimes again they just kind of find out after the fact, and so just communicating to them, hey, just in case you guys missed it, and at that point, if they don't sound like everyone thinks they're way too busy, right? And unfortunately, it's the way too busy people that get things done, and so. Just throw them our way. Tell them to just reach out to us so that we can help them land because they regret after the fact. And we don't want a whole bunch of folks having lost a year. And when we talk about this grant, it's really 5 semesters. So when you're looking at our middle school partners here, that means the student may most likely not have any opportunity to benefit from this experience in their middle school career. Right. And this is that window for that current 7th grader and possibly 6th grader to where once you're in, you kind of get, Diana, this, but the 3rd time now for you? Yeah. Once you're in, you get the rhythm. And if you decide to go do your own thing, that's perfect. We just don't want our region to have pockets that have never had a grant that allowed them to do more than they would have by using just general fund dollars. And so that's the key. So as you continue to, we can salute all of you and we will support you in any way we can. And if there's any other lost souls out there, just send them our way so we can kind of help them out before the last slipper is going.
I thought Liberty Charter and Alpine, didn't they do it one year?
Yeah, they got funded.
They got pretty good.
I think round 5 was the last time I did evaluation. So they were funded. I'm not sure if they got awarded during round 6. Julie, you were on the selection committee, if you're still on the call. So yeah, I thought
remember.
Liberty.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't remember who was or wasn't. Yeah.
As long as they've been in once, then at least I know they know, but some of them have never. And so those are the ones that I at least want to know that if we caught someone and we gave them their first opportunity, whether they come back to drink the water, that's up to them. But at least we want to make sure the new ones get a chance to come in.
And the Dehesa district, have you ever reached out to them?
We've had some interaction with Dehesa. Does it go K8 though?
Yeah. They're K8.
What's the middle school in Dehesa?
It's all one school, K8, like St.
Okay. Yeah, we've had them here at the LVIC, so we'll touch base with them again.
Okay.
Thank you, though. We've had them actually here. Good enough.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I'll reach out to folks that I know have already expressed an interest in joining the consortia. Lakeside, Mountain Empire, Mac, we'll get some time on the calendar to start working on these forms and budget, and because the time is going to fly by. And also you'll see that there is this is the grant season series. Again, Jewel and Leslie have created a whole calendar of sessions on grant application. A lot of it's CTIG, but there might be one on budget. So check that out. And then here's our contact info if you have any questions at all. And thank you for taking the time at the end of the day. Boy, 3 o'clock meetings are always kind of stinky at the end of the day. So thanks for hanging in there. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Margie.
All right.